Welcome to our channel. This is Kritika, and this is the first episode on educational technology. So, today we are going to learn about the basics of Git and GitHub. So, we'll be knowing what is version control, what is Git, advantages of Git, architecture of Git, Git workflow, and common commands used in the Git. So, first is what is version control? So version control is also known as a source control. It is the practice of tracking and managing changes to software code. So version control systems are software tools that help software teams manage changes to the source code over time. So version control is nothing but a source control wherein we can track and manage the changes to the software code, and software it helps in managing the changes done to the source code by the software team. So we'll know what are the types of version controls. So we have basically two types of version control system. So mostly they are centralized version control system, distributed version control system. So what is centralized version control system? So in centralized version control system, we can take the local copy of the copy of the source from the server to the local system, do the changes and commit those changes to the central source on server. So example will be the subversion, or we can call it as SVN as well. So distributed version control system. What is distributed version control system? In a distributed version control system, we can bring a local copy of the complete repository. So the complete repository copy can be pulled by the repository to the every member of the team to their local system. They can do the changes, they can modify the code, they can commit, they can branch, they can merge the branches locally. So the example will be Git. So we'll know what is Git. So Git is nothing but a global information tracker. Git is a DevOps tool used for source code management. So it is a free and open source version control system used to handle small and very large project efficiently. So Git is used to tracking changes in the source code, enabling multiple developers to work together on non-linear development. So basically, Git is a tool. It is a DevOps tool for source code management, which can handle a small or a large project efficiently, which can keep the track of the history of the projects where the multiple developers work together on a non-linear development. So it helps us to know on which particular time, and what particular time which team member has modified the code or contributed to the code, or they have added any of the functionality to the code or committed the changes. So multiple people can contribute to the same single code of the repository. So, and also basically Git helps us to maintain the history of the project. So we'll know what are the advantages of the Git. So first is performance, security, flexibility, wide acceptance, quality, open supply project. First advantage is performance. So Git has its advanced algorithm where performance operations and are branching and merging. So the performance operations are branching and merging, which committing a new changes, and we can also compare the past versions of the code. So we'll be having versions of the code in the Git, wherein we can compare the last version of the code once we modify the code. So performance is one of the important advantage of the Git. So the second one is the security. So security, well, we know Git provides us a authentic content history of the source code. So we get an authentic content history of the source code. So in the Git repository, versions, directories, the content of the file, tags and commits and secure because of cryptographical secure SHA-1. Hashing is an algorithm used. So we'll be knowing what is cryptography. So it is an application which will protect communications from being interrupted by the third parties. So the next one will be the flexibility. We can track the changes made where we can see a message about it. where the changes are made, who has made the changes. We can track the changes. We can track the commits made by the team members, and backup and restore, collaboration, branching and merging. So we can keep the track of these things. So we can maintain the backup of the code, and it also helps the software team to collaborate with each other. So and the next thing is wide acceptance. So we know that Git has adopted a wide globally universally adaptability and performance standards. Git gives us mostly every developers will be using Git because the developing team will get the required aspects from the Git, wherein it helps to develop their project. Right. The next one is quality open supply project. So we know that Git is a open source project wherein it has 10 years of operational history. So the company who involves maintaining long versions of the project, so it helps them to terms urges of users. It helps them to give the long-term vision to the project. Have the architecture of the Git. So Git has a client server architecture that allows multiple developers to work on the same code base at the same time without the need for centralized servers. So what Git helps, Git has a client server architecture wherein the multiple users can work on the same code at the same period of time without the use of the centralized servers. And also every developer in the team can get the whole repository to their local and work on the code offline without using any network connection, right? So this will be the Git server. It is a bare repository in the GitHub, and this is a Git server with a production server, and this is the developer A machine, developer B, developer C. So developer A can work sitting in the home, developer B can work sitting in the office, or developer C will also be sitting in the office. But they three of them can also work on the same code base. But they can modify the code, they can contribute to the code. Three of them can work on the same code. They can take the code from the repository and they can work on the same code. They can commit the changes in the repository. So without using any of the network, this can be done without using the centralized with servers as well. So this is how the architecture of Git is maintained. Then Git workflow. So we all know this is the Git repository wherein you can clone the operation. We can do update operation, push operation, and pull operations and all. So working copy, you can take the copy of the code, you can edit the code, you can add, you can move the files, you can check the status of the modified code, and you can differentiate between the last version of the code and the modified version of the code. You can review the changes, you can commit and push the operations. So ultimately, this is how the Git workflow works. So we have a workflow divided into three stages. So one is working directory, the staging area, and the Git directory repository. So working directory, it modifies files in your working directory, and the staging area, so wherein you can modify the code, you can modify the files, you can add the files, the modified files to the staging area. It helps us to stage the files and add snapshots of the modified files to your staging area. So the next one is the Git directory. It is the repository wherein once you add the files to the staging area, you can perform a commit that stores the snapshots permanently to your directory. So the commit it will store the snapshots directly to the Git permanently. So this is how it works. So you can check out any existing version and make changes. You can stage the changes. That is, you can add the modified files and then you can commit them to the repository. So we'll come to the common commands used in the Git. So we have like multiple Git commands used to run the operations, to do the operations, wherein these are some of the common commands. So first one we have Git init. So what is Git init? Why is the Git init command used? It helps us to create a local repository. So Git init command used to create a local repository. The next one is Git clone with a path. So Git clone is nothing but we have to select the path of which code you have to clone. So from the repository, so we have to select the path of the code where you want to clone the code to the local system. So that path is added after the git clone command to clone the code. So git clone path is helps us to check out the repository and create the local copy of it. And then git add helps us to add the modified files or the add the files to the staging area. So once the files are added to the staging area, git commit, we have to commit the message. So we are using git commit m message helps us to commit the staged files. So the next one is git status. So git status helps us to see the state of files. So this command is used to see the status of the modified files. Got it? Then the git branch. So git branch, it helps us to create or list the branches or rename the branches or delete the branches. Git branch create will help us to create the branch. Git branch list will help us to list the branches we have created, and rename helps us to rename the branch, and delete helps us to delete the branch. So the next one is the git merge with the branch name. So this command helps us to merge the branch of the respective branch with the main origin branch. So git merge with the branch name which we have to merge with the origin. So the next one is the git push origin main. So pushes the commits, branches, etc. to the remote repository. So git push origin main is used once we modify the files, we add them to the staging area, then we commit the message. So once we have added the files to the staging area, so we have to perform the commit. So we have to commit the message, which helps us to commit the staged files. Once we are committed, then we have to push the code to the origin main. So we are using git push origin main once we commit the modified files, which helps us to push the commits to the remote repository. So, and the next one is Git checkout. Git checkout branch name helps us in switching the branches. So, Git checkout branch name helps us to switch the branches. So, Git pull remote name updates. So, we have this Git pull command is used to update the remote repository and merge changes into the local repository. We can use the git pull command with the respective remote name, which helps us to update the remote repository, and we can also merge the changes into the local repository. So the next one is Git log. So Git log helps us to get the history of the commits. So we can know at what time which team member has committed the change, which member has committed the changes or modified the changes. So we can know the timings, we can know the history basically by using the git log command. These are all the common commands used in the Git as of now. And this is our first session of the educational technology, and we have spoken about the Git. So I think this is the end of the episode. Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe our channel and help us to grow more. And thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye.